Hello, everybody, and welcome to the award-winning FTW podcast, the wrestling world in all its laughable glory. This is our TNA Genesis 2013 pay-per-view preview discussion recorded live on January 10th, 2013 on FTWLive.com. My name is Harrison, and joining us tonight is Rob. Say hello, Rob.
Hey.
We got a special guest for you guys tonight, Lou. Say hello, Lou.
What's going on, guys?
And as always, Garvin is manning the boards. If you're listening through iTunes, YouTube, or through your favorite podcast player, make sure to check out FTWpodcast.com for more about us and how to get involved in upcoming discussions. You can also find us on Twitter, Google+, and Facebook. All those links are listed all in the new FTWpodcast.com. And for those of you guys listening live right here tonight on FTWLive.com, Live Chat Hooligans represent. Glad you could make it. So let's just dive in. I'm sorry, before we dive into Genesis this Sunday, the big news as far as pay-per-view implications go, straight out of the presses, is that TNA is moving to just 4 pay-per-views every year now. I'm assuming every 3 months or so. Looks like Genesis is going to be one of the big 4. Next one is probably going to be Lockdown. They're teasing that already in March. Presumably the third would be Bound for Glory. How do you guys feel about the idea of, we talked about this a few weeks ago when we were discussing things that we'd like to see TNA do, and one of them was to move to 4 pay-per-views every year, or at least I think the number we landed on was like between 6 and 8. They're pulling all their eggs and they're putting them in just 4 baskets. What do you guys think about this? I want to kick this to Lou. You know, let's put the new guy on the hot seat first. What do you think, Lou? 4 pay-per-views a year. You think this is a good move for him?
Well, I'm actually a fan of this. First off, it really makes the pay-per-views feel important. Now, actually, I think it was Wrestling News Source tweeted out a little bit of information that went deeper into it. There are actually going to be 7 other smaller shows, and they're essentially going to be pay-per-views, but there's going to be a certain pay structure that's different. Whereas the big shows, you're going to be paying around, I think it was like $35 for the pay-per-view, and Bound for Glory, I think $45. For the smaller pay-per-views, it's going to drop down to about $15. So ultimately, I think it's going to make the big shows feel important, and they're still going to have their revenue coming in. So there's really nothing wrong with it, in my opinion.
Okay. Rob, you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I agreed with it, with what Lance Storm said, first and foremost. You know, when I was a kid growing up, you didn't have a pay-per-view every month. That was something that came newer. I like the idea of TNA just focusing on major 4 pay-per-views, and then for the smaller pay-per-views, making it a little bit more affordable, which makes it easier for new wrestling fans to check it out. Say, hey, it's only $15. Maybe I'll check out TNA and see what they're doing.
Just to clarify, it was James Storm. James Storm, not Lance Storm.
I always do that, like, son of a bitch.
It's not like Rob ever makes that mistake. But the danger of using the smaller pay-per-views as a way to get inroads is they are smaller pay-per-views, so the shows aren't going to be arguably as good as they would for the big 4. So giving someone, you know, a taste at a lower price, could it be offset by the fact that the product won't be as good?
Well, maybe yes, maybe no. But when you're looking at lower price, you know, like Lou said, TNA is still going to get revenue from the hardcore fans, and somebody new who's checking it out, you can still hope that they'll see something that'll make them say, okay, you know, maybe I'll tune in to Impact or whatnot and see what's going on, see if this stuff gets better.
All right, Garv, what do you think? I mean, we're moving to 4 pay-per-views with the smaller ones. I mean, you with Lou and Rob on this one?
Well, I think it's a great idea. My only reservation is that we still don't have all the information yet. So Wrestling News Source posted that there's still going to be, other events that are like pay-per-views, but not quite as big. With that in mind, I think I'm going to hold off full judgment. But if they're moving for 4 events and those are your big events where all the major things happen, I think it's a great idea, and they will benefit from it.
And let's be honest here. It's something that we've said a lot, especially last year, was that TNA really, although near the end they were getting better at it, really were not hyping their pay-per-view shows. The only time you really heard about the pay-per-view on Impact was days beforehand when they would actually reference it, throw the graphics up, and they would start to build out the matches for it. It wasn't like you heard about TNA Genesis for weeks ahead of time leading into it. The only one that really got any appreciable hype was Bound for Glory, and that was mostly down to the Bound for Glory tournament.
Well, they basically did kind of like the Big Four. I mean, Lockdown you heard a lot about coming up to it. Slammiversary you heard a lot about. Bound for Glory you heard a lot about. And last year, I guess the Big Four would be Final Resolution would have been the fourth one because they really were pushing Final Resolution for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they've been kind of doing this for a while, but yeah, it's like you said, Harrison, you know, we've been critical of TNA of not really pushing their pay-per-views, and, you know, I think Taz said it great tonight on Impact, you know, we're going to focus on 4 major pay-per-views. That gives us a lot of time to push and develop stuff and make the shows better for everybody.
Speaking of which, Lou, I wanted to ask you this. So now that we have, after Sunday, we're going to be done with Genesis. The next big pay-per-view, assuming they don't really plug these smaller ones or however that kind of shakes out, we don't know yet. The next big pay-per-view is...
Lockdown.
Yeah, Lockdown, which they're already talking about in March. Do you think that that's going to do you think that's too much time? Do you think that we're going to get kind of burnt out on it by the time February, maybe the end of February, beginning of March rolls around, that we've been hearing about Lockdown week in and week out, assuming that's what they're planning on doing?
Well, I mean, you got to look at it this way. The WWE does that all the time with WrestleMania. They build it for 4 months. This is relatively half the time, and this is one of the big 4 shows. So I guess it does make sense if you're looking at their long-term buy goals for each of the large pay-per-views.
Shit, with the last WrestleMania, they pushed it for the entire year with the Rock Cena thing.
Well, it was really just one match for the one pay-per-view. Yeah. Okay, no, that's a fair point. All right, so it looks like Genesis is going to be the first of the big 4, at least this year. I don't know how it shakes out as far as we go next year. And we'll talk about this more on Tuesday, about what pay-per-views we'd like to see as far as, you know, make it to the big 4 or maybe have a couple pay-per-views that make a return or something like that. But regardless, we have Genesis coming up this Sunday. We got the card sitting right here. Looks like it's going to be, well, hopefully if certain things shake out, it shouldn't be the biggest card in the world, but it should make the Impact next week, in 1 week, look pretty awesome. First up, we got Chavo and Hernandez facing off against Morgan and Ryan for the tag titles. The only problem I have with Matt Morgan and Ryan is I'm glad when my wife works Thursday nights because I don't have to justify Christy Hemme or Ryan to her when she looks up and sees what's on TV. So, but all that being said, I really do wish that, I mean, for me personally, Morgan and Ryan really should have the straps right now. Chavo and Hernandez have been spinning their wheels for about 5 weeks now. I haven't seen any improvement out of them at all. Anybody disagree with me on that, or anybody think they got a better opinion than I?
Well,
go ahead, Garvin.
Just to be clear, it's not necessarily that we want the titles on Morgan and Chavo, or Morgan and Ryan. It's that we want them off of Chavo and Hernandez. It wouldn't matter who they're facing.
Okay, that's a fair point. But now, this Sunday, Garvin, the card is that it's Chavo and Hernandez versus Morgan and Ryan. So basically what you want to do is you want to spend the show agreeing with me without actually agreeing with me. This is an award-winning... I will not have you sully this award-winning podcast, Garvin.
I am agreeing with you. I think they should lose the title, yeah.
I'm glad I had to twist your arm for that one. Anyway, Rob, you were saying?
If we had made our predictions Tuesday, I probably would have picked Chavo and Hernandez to retain the titles just because TNA at times they go back and forth. They're really pushing Morgan and Ryan, but they're really pushing Chavo and Hernandez. But they gave Chavo and Hernandez a nice little backstage ambush on the two that Chavo and Hernandez kind of seemed to come out of the win. And TNA has a nasty habit of following WCW trends. That probably means that we can bet on them to lose the titles at the pay-per-view. So I'm going to say Morgan and Ryan win.
Lou, what about you, man? You with team Big Morgan and Big Organ?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to agree with you guys on this one. The reason being, well, to add on to Rob's point, I just want to see Morgan hold some gold. I mean, it's been a long time since he's had any strap on him. That's one of the up and coming talents in this company, and that's definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, Morgan definitely deserves gold. I'll agree with you there, Lou.
That's been like 2 years, hasn't it? Because when he left, well, I mean, including when he left, it's been a long time.
Any chance at gold for him really ended last year when he was injured for during the Bound for Glory tournament.
Yeah. Wow, Lou, good point, man. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Garv, what about you? You with Team Sleaze?
Well, on that same point, is it too soon to put a title on Ryan?
It's the tag titles.
Yeah, Harrison makes a good point. It's the tag titles, and like we've all been criticizing for weeks now, and I'm going to say it because I evidently don't criticize TNA, which means people just don't listen to our show enough. Chavo has not been doing anything. Chavo has really been kind of, like you said, Harrison, spinning his wheels.
Well, Rob, it's not that you don't criticize TNA. It's just that you're like, you criticize WWE, and you have like this, I don't know, it's like a wine drinker talking about beer. That's the way I can describe it. Anyway, Lee, go on. Or I'm sorry, Lee.
Lee.
Oh, I am so sorry. That's like calling you a child rapist. Lou.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess.
I'm sorry.
That's a major affront, but I'll let it slide. Actually, the way I could see TNA justifying putting a title on Ryan is since Morgan is the dominant member of the team, if Morgan carries that match, and I mean 90% of that match, Morgan is just dominating and they win, then I see it as 100% justifiable. He just happened to be there.
Yeah, especially if Ryan can get some kind of backhanded thing in there. Yeah, if you had to book the match, I would book it like that. The only worry I have coming out of that is lately I've been really hot on Hernandez. I think, especially between Hernandez and Chavo, he's definitely the stronger talent, or has the better rise coming out of this. And I only worry that if you have Morgan dominate both Chavo and Hernandez, you might hurt him a little bit. But if that's what it takes to get them off the belts and break that team up, then that's what it takes. Moving on, this was booked today, which was the knockout #1 contendership for the title. It's a gauntlet match between Velvet Sky, Mickie James, Gail Kim, ODB, and Miss Tessmacher. Now, the easy money would be on Miss Tessmacher, given how she behaved this week. But Tuesday, I was kind of hot on Mickie James winning the title. But Velvet Sky, she just comes back. We haven't seen her, we didn't see her today at all. But she was on kind of a tear. I mean, do you see her maybe? I mean, for me, it's down to Velvet Sky, possibly Tessmacher, and then maybe James, Gail Kim, or ODB as a dark horse, just because, I mean, I think she'd be phenomenal in the ring. But, I mean, if you had to pick who do you think's going to win this, Rob?
Well, given the events of tonight's Impact, I think you can count on Miss Tessmacher being sidelined in the minor storyline feud with Tara and her boyfriend. I'm going to go with Velvet Sky coming out on top. Okay. That's who I'd like to see win.
All right. Lou, what about you?
I'm actually going to agree with Rob, and I'm going to say Velvet Sky. I feel like Mickie James and Tessmacher are pretty much the red herrings in this match. They've had some storyline with Tara, but honestly, I just see them putting the strap on Velvet, especially after that promo she cut on the day that she came back.
All right. Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. Giving it to Velvet would be pretty awesome. The only thing about, just with Mickie James, though, she is kind of the John Cena of the Knockouts division, so you can't really count her out in any type of title hunt in any capacity. So, that's the one worry I have, is that they would think, well, Velvet is just now coming back. Yeah, she cut a great promo and everything, but we're going to give the strap to her right away. Or would we give it to a workhorse like Mickie James, someone we can work with leading up to the next pay-per-view in March, and then possibly drop the Velvet then? I don't know. I'm kind of torn there when it comes to that. Garv, you got an opinion?
Well, if I was booking the match, I would go with ODB. But what makes sense for what they're doing is actually Miss Tessmacher. Like, because she was involved tonight, that seems like that's going to be the person they run with. Otherwise, Velvet would have been on TV to push, her eligibility. So I don't know. It just, I think Velvet is the go-to person soon, but I think just based on what happened tonight, you almost have to go with Miss Tessmacher.
See,
sadly.
I disagree with you on that entirely for the reason of, the match with Robbie T, in that it almost builds up that sort of like mixed tag division that we were talking about a few months ago when ODB and EY won the belt. I would say that it would give, for me, more, for me it leans more that Tessmacher's not going to win, because then it gives Tara and Tessmacher something to do when Tara doesn't have the belt anymore. Because then you have them feud, because they don't need the belt to feud with that. Even then it becomes kind of a hindrance, because you're tying up the belt in a series of matches that they possibly can't win. So it'd be Tara and Spectacular versus Robbie T and Tessmacher.
Well, I mean, although we have stated that, we like the idea of a mixed knockouts tag type situation, I mean, that's highly unlikely that they'll really move into that direction.
No, I'm not saying it would be formalized. I'm saying it allows them to kind of ease their way into it as opposed to just up and doing it. Because let's face it, the knockouts tag titles for the past 6 to 8 months have been a mixed division with EY and ODB holding it. So having another team in Tara and Spectacular, and then a third team now with Tessmacher and Robbie T, you're kind of seeing a division kind of develop. Slowly, I'll give you. And maybe that's the best way to do it. So that's, to me, that's why I would see, that's why I don't see Tessmacher winning this.
Okay, well, I'm going with Tessmacher, so.
All right, you're wrong.
That's my
Whatever.
prediction.
All right, so we have exciting news. We're going to have 2 X Division matches on the pay-per-view. So we don't get them at all, during the week, but we can have 2 of them on a pay-per-view. So, pop your popcorn and plop a spine on the couch, because you better enjoy it. We're going to have King versus York, and the winner is going to face RVD for the X Division title. King's been looking good. York's looked good since his debut. For me, this is a toss-up in York clearly is ring ready, and, he's just been phenomenal the entire time. Kenny King, though, you can't deny that he's been on a tear since, these past few weeks. So, I mean, Lou, where do you lie there? Do you see King winning it? Do you see York winning it?
I'm gonna say that King wins the match just because, one, he's been on that tear. York has lost a lot of his matches since he's debuted, and in addition to that, if York wins, you run into that face versus face thing, which pretty much kills the crowd.
No, that's a fair point. All right, Rob, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Lou here. Normally, I'd be more than willing to book York and put him ahead, but face versus face almost never works out. I mean, with York, it could work out. I mean, it worked when he took on Jeff Hardy. Him and RVD could probably make it work. But at the end of the day, you're rolling the dice, and pay-per-views are not really where you want to roll the dice.
Especially not when you only have 4 a year now. All right, so you're taking Kenny King?
Yeah.
All right, Garv, what do you got?
I'm also taking Kenny King, but I'm also keeping in mind that really York's last match wasn't that great, and the match before that really wasn't that great. So I think we want to see good things from York. We have seen good things from York, but he's still not consistent yet. We can't ignore that part of it.
Yeah.
So with that said, yeah, I'm gonna go with King. And are we also picking the title match with this?
Yeah. We'll be picking the title match in a second. I just want to read off you quickly and say, York has been kind of inconsistent. So has the guy holding the belt. So there is that. But it's RVD,
they're two different wrestlers. So
yeah, that's fair. All right. So moving on, I mean, we're all picking King to win. So it's gonna be, according to us, King versus RVD for the X Division title. For me, it doesn't matter if it's King or York. RVD's got to drop the belt. He really hasn't done anything with it, and it was very clear when he won it. The instant he won it, we were all like, "This guy's just interim. You know, he's holding the belt until they can build an X Division around it, and then get it off of him, and then have him start." You know, get him in the main event picture with aces and eights and all that other stuff going on. Rob, where are you landing on this? You think RVD's going to drop it?
Yeah, we've already had RVD push Christian York and go on about how good he is. You know, Austin Aries and a few other guys are really behind King. I think whichever one wins, RVD is going to drop the belt to them.
Okay. Lou, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to agree with that. RVD's held the belt long enough. I'm tired of seeing RVD in the X Division. It pains me to say this, but he's a main eventer, and I'd rather see the younger X Division guys just really pick up this belt and run with it and see what they can do with this division.
You're not one of those guys who's like, you know, he weighs 10 pounds over. He doesn't deserve to be in the division.
No, but
Okay.
he's more of a striker, and X Division for me has always been a lot of the high flying. RVD does some high flying, but he's it's more of his striking. If it was more map based wrestling and high flying, like let's say Alex Shelley, then I'd say, all right, that's fine, but that's not his style. So.
No, that's a really good point, especially with comparison to Alex Shelley. Garv, what do you got? You thinking RVD is going to drop it, or are you going to disagree with all of us? Yeah, again.
No, I'm going to go with Kenny King walking out with the title. If York does advance, though, I can't see them putting the title on him and Joey Ryan in the same night. That seems really odd. So I'd rather see Joey Ryan hold the title than York right now. So Kenny King wins the title. That's me.
Okay. All right. So you say it's Kenny King. All right. Next up, we have Joseph Park after his brief stint in wrestling school at OVW, which apparently is over now. Versus Dvon in a grudge match, presumably. This is okay. Does anybody see any surprises coming out of this, and if so, what? Because there's the little surprise of it being this isn't going to actually be a match; it's just going to be another street fight, and then there's that big surprise of are we going to finally see Abyss? Keep in mind, TNA does use the names of their pay-per-views for a reason. Genesis would be, well, I guess that would be more of a return. I don't know. Anyway, Lou, where do you see this? Do you see a surprise coming out of this match, or do you think it's going to be very kind of cut and dry, sort of, between these two?
I'm thinking it's going to be cut and dry, and I'm actually going to pick Dvon to come out on top of this. I really don't see Joseph Park making that change to Abyss until Lockdown. I think he's going to take his lumps, and I'm going to explain another reason as to why I'm picking this way when we get to this Sting versus Doc match.
Ooh, so stay tuned. Rob, who are you picking, Dvon or Joseph Park? And do you see a surprise coming out of this?
No, I don't see any surprises. As for the match, well, you know, this one time at wrestling camp, Joseph Park got his ass kicked by Dvon.
Yeah, that's right. So you're going to take Dvon again?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to pick Dvon only because Aces and Eights really haven't. I mean, I'm gonna hope that it's just a straight actual match. No, ball peen hammer, no like ladder, no, setting anybody on fire or anything. Because I would like for Aces and Eights to actually win a straight regular match because they really haven't done that. It's always kind of stipulated or something happened and it was a DQ or something. So for me, I want to see Dvon win this because I think Aces and Eights need a good, clean win, especially to start off 2013. With today, them saying this was going to be their year or something. Yeah. All right, Garv, where are you on this?
I hate to keep agreeing with you outside that one match. But yeah, I'm gonna also have to go with Dvon. I think it's way too quick, and if they were to basically say that, Joseph Park went to wrestling camp for a month and is already beating, one of the top mid-carders, I guess you could call Dvon. I don't know, but one of the top guys in Aces and Eights. That's that.
It's great advertising for. Well, it is great advertising for OVW if that happens.
But we were talking about how weak,
Go to OVW,
Aces
they
and
can
Eights.
make you a wrestler in a month.
Yeah, I mean,
weeks.
except for Crimson, he's been there for about 6 months now. But anyways, yeah, no, I just think if we keep saying that Aces and Eights have been looking weak when they needed to be strong, so if you put Joseph Park over him, then once again, Aces and Eights look pitiful, and I think that would be a major mistake. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say this isn't the last time we see Joseph Park. I'm sure, he'll probably get screwed out of the win or something. Something stupid to, well, not stupid, but just something to continue the push and get him involved more, down the road.
There's one point that none of us touched on. Dvon is the TV champion. You're going to really put a new guy over someone that's holding gold.
Right.
That's true, too. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's TV champ, but it'd be easy to forget that he's the TV champion. Because even when he's walking around, he's not carrying that belt. The only time I saw him tonight with the belt is on the graphic advertising this match.
He actually also had it in one of the backstage segments at the Aces.
When they went into the club room, it was laying on the table.
Oh, right, yeah, it was. Okay, all right, so yeah, it was laying on the table, along with some beer and a gavel. It's just weird to think about, it's a complaint that, I think it was like Joe and I think Garv, you were really on him about that. He's got the TV title and they don't defend the TV title every week. I mean, you guys were going on about this when they first came out with it.
And when they renamed it the TV title, they came out, we're going to defend it every week. Well, the Bound for Glory tournament got in the way. Well, we've got other things we want to do. Well, we just kind of forgot about it.
I don't wanna. I don't feel like it. All right, so James Storm versus Christopher Daniels in a. Oh wait, we got to get a match with these two guys in. For me, I don't know. I for this one, it's a complete toss-up for me. I mean, James Storm maybe because what do we got? We got a heel winning, face winning, heel winning. Let's split the baby in half, and I'm gonna say James Storm just because a face win over this. Rob, where you land on this one? James Storm or Christopher Daniels?
I believe James Storm is going to win. Christopher Daniels beat AJ Styles last pay-per-view. They don't really have. TNA never has much for Christopher Daniels to do when he's not in a storyline with AJ Styles. So there's no way to slow down James Storm's push.
That's a really good point, yeah. He really doesn't have much. Lou, what do you think?
I'm going to say James Storm just because he's going to be moving on to bigger and better things after this pay-per-view. I see him going maybe into the title picture within the next 2 months.
Really? You think he's going into the main event, the heavyweight title picture within, so by March, you think he would be the number one contender for the belt?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I like it. Mostly because I predicted him that he would win that when we did our preview show. Garvin, what do you got?
Yeah, well, that's definitely the obvious scenario in the direction that they want to go and that we've wanted them to go for a while. So I do want to add that this is the least built up match. I'm still not clear why it's happening. They've had 2 backstage segments, and somehow that means they're going to have a match. So I don't know. It's kind of rough. But
I think Harrison hit it on the button. Hey, we have to get these guys in a pay-per-view.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you could also add on that that Storm has been essentially feuding with Bad Influence since the last pay-per-view with his match with Kazarian. So
that's a good point.
Yeah. But I mean, you figure it would be against Kaz, though. Well,
but still, I mean that there was the involvement of AJ there, and once AJ left, then I don't know. It seems kind of pointless that they would continue pushing it, to me at least. So, but I'm gonna go with James Storm as well. I think it'll be a quality match. This will probably be one of the better matches of the night, despite it having no real build up to it. But I think it'll surprise a lot of people that aren't expecting anything good to happen with this match. So
I can't imagine anybody really wouldn't expect anything good to happen with this match. I mean, James Storm and Christopher Daniels, that's two solid ring workers right there.
But it's filler. I mean, it's filler, and I doubt they're going to give them a lot of time.
I'd be surprised if they got 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably looking at a 5-minute match, maybe 10 minutes hops, but I doubt it. I think it's closer to a 5-7-minute match.
All right, that's fair enough. All right, so we got Sting versus DOC in a Bat versus Hammer match. Lou, you said you had an idea that you wanted to pitch with this one. I'm kicking it to you. What do you got?
Well, it's Sting's return match. The first real big pay-per-view return match. And I see them, all right. It's Sting's big return match, so I see him going over. I don't see them throwing off the balance with aces and eights so much. That's why I went with Dvon for the previous match. I don't see them losing twice on one pay-per-view. So that's why I was thinking Sting.
No, that's a fair point, yeah. All right, I like that, yeah, because, I mean, yeah, if first off, if, Dvon lost to Joseph Park, in addition, I mean, I don't think the loss to Sting is really that big of a deal when you consider it's Joseph Park. Rob, who are you picking for this one, Sting or DOC?
I'm going with Sting. I think Lou hit it on the nail. I mean, this is Sting's first pay-per-view back. They're not going to have him lose and derail the momentum he's got. I mean, Sting's the icon. He pretty much wins whenever he wants.
He's the Hall of Famer, yeah. Garv, what do you got? Sting too?
Was there any stipulations added to this match? Do you guys know of?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, so it's possible that this match could end in a DQ.
Yes.
Then I'm gonna go with Sting, but I'm gonna throw I'm gonna say that it's probably gonna be a DQ win. I don't see him getting a clean win over Doc. There's got to be some kind of involvement. I can't see a clean win over Doc, at least.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point. Yeah. Still though, I still see him getting a win, even if there's interference or something involved. All right, so here we are, main event of the card: Jeff Hardy versus Austin Aries versus Bobby Roode for the TNA title. For me, again, I cannot see them taking it off of Hardy with kind of minimal build that they've given. I mean, maybe not minimal build, but this really hasn't had the kind of build that I would expect for a match that would have Jeff Hardy losing the title.
If they stick to the elimination style match, I'm a little bit worried that having Jeff Hardy win will make him even more Superman and will damage both Austin Aries and Bobby Roode. But at the moment, TNA has a fairly deep bench, if you want to call it, of people lined up for a world title shot. And it's just too quick. It's just too early to remove the title from Jeff Hardy. So I think that they're going to keep it on him.
Okay. Fair point. Lou, what do you think? I mean, do you think they're going to keep it on Hardy, or do you see maybe dark horse of Austin Aries or Bobby Roode just kind of change it up and start off the new year with like kind of a swerve?
No, they're going to definitely keep it on Hardy. The build for this match has been more about Austin Aries versus Bobby Roode. So I guess is that they're going to keep it on Hardy. He's going to move on, and we're going to see Aries versus Roode yet again at the new pay-per-view.
You say like it's a bad thing. It's still going to be a phenomenal match and a phenomenal feud. These two can really work together.
Yeah, but I'd like to see maybe a little change up in things. Maybe Storm versus Aries. That's something I would like to see. You have two real great workers and two guys that are really good on the mic. Maybe that's something that could happen for the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. Storm versus Aries. Because either way, you're gonna have a quality match and a build that's gonna be like nothing else between the two of them. And it would be kind of interesting to see how they kind of work off each other in the ring. Garv, what about you? You think they're gonna keep it on Jeff Hardy, or do you see maybe a swerve?
Well, don't forget that there is now like 2.5 months to build up until the next pay-per-view, so we can fit James Storm in there. There's going to be plenty of time. What they have built up is Aries versus Rude, not so much Jeff Hardy. He just happens to be there. So because of that, there's no way they're going to take the title off him. He's going to win, but the way I see the match going down is pretty much the exact same thing we saw tonight, where Aries and Rude just basically one-up each other until someone gets distracted and Hardy gets the sneaky pin, and then he's going to be Super Hardy, sadly. But hey, them's the breaks, I guess.
You say like we got to do chores. It's just, it's not the worst. Look, I'm sorry, Jeff Hardy holding the belt is not it's a stupid belt. But it's not the worst thing in the world. The guy is a solid worker. He paid his dues. He got clean. He did it for the company, and he's being rewarded for it. And I hope it does not continue into March.
I love how you go from complimentary. Well, he's paid his dues. He does deserve it, but I hope it doesn't last.
I'm the same way with the Patriots, man. The team, what they did with the Patriots is amazing. They built a solid team. I am sick of seeing them in the goddamn playoffs. I'm done. If I have to see them in one more NFC Championship match, I'm going to lose
AFC?
it. I'm sorry, AFC Championship match. I'm going to lose it. It's like, I'm tired of it. Stop fucking going to the playoffs. Tom Brady, you won. You won being a man. You can quit now.
As a Browns fan, I have to ask, what are you even talking about? I thought the season ended like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, football's over, yeah. Especially when it comes to Belichick, cut his teeth for the Browns and then leaves and goes to win multiple Super Bowls. Not bitter at all. Oh, so that's Genesis 2013. This is the first of the year of the Big Four. This is what they're going to lead off with. Guys, I got to ask you, we got to put on the cynicism hat for a minute. This is going to be the first time I can remember where a wrestling outfit went backwards, where they, instead of adding more pay-per-views, took away a whole bunch and said, we're going to start doing this. This is the first one of those. Can you say it's going to lead things off, or do you have to give the idea of, no, we have to wait to March to see how this works because we have to see what 2.5 months of build does for this? Lou, where do you land on this? Can you call this the first real one, or do you have to say that we have to wait till March?
We have to wait till March. We didn't get 2 months worth of build for Genesis, so as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't count.
Okay. No, that's a fair point. Garv, what do you think?
Yes, I'm with Lou. We do have to wait, some time to see how things go. But let's not talk about it like they're devolving. I mean, they are stepping forward and taking chances. This is something that we've been talking about for a while. How TNA needs to take risks, and that's what they've done. Open Fight Night's a huge risk. They were the first one to stream live on YouTube, if you remember, before WWE did. So they are willing to take chances now, and everything has succeeded up until this point. So you have to go in giving them the benefit of the doubt that this can succeed, and it should succeed. And it's basically, giving us what we've wanted anyways, which is more time to build good feuds. So I'm going to say, right off the bat that I think this is going to be a good move, but, we do have to give it some time to see how it plays out.
All right. Rob, where do you land on this?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be actually a little bit longer than 2.5 months because they've been pushing lockdown since parts of November and December. Okay.
Well, yeah, but the real build for lockdown will start on Thursday.
Right. And I think because of that, we're going to have to wait and see. Like Darvin said, everything TNA has tried, they've taken some big risks lately and everything's paid off. Championship Thursdays, Open Fight Night, and you know, I think scaling back the major pay-per-views is going to really resonate with a lot of fans. I think this is going to work for TNA too.
Am I the only one on this show that thinks Gut Check is good? I mean, why aren't you guys giving Gut Check as an example of a risk that's paid off?
Yes, Gut Check.
I thought I did.
No.
Yeah, I'm
No
sorry. Gut Check too.
Okay, all right.
Definitely belongs up there.
Okay, good. Because, I mean, it's something that I'm like, I know that we've had arguments about it in the past, but I'm like, is it come to that? Am I the lone guy carrying the Gut Check flag going, this is a good segment? All right. Okay, so as the pay-per-view as a whole, we're leading into 2013, potentially a big year for TNA. Where do you see, I mean, are you excited for the pay-per-view? Do you think it's a solid card, or do you think this is kind of like 50-50? Where do you land on this? Garth?
I think it's a great card. I think, outside of the James Storm, Christopher Daniels match that didn't have enough build, I think everything else kind of sort of did. The knockouts, not as much, but everything else was pushed pretty well tonight, at least. Not prior to this week, but tonight it did. It did well. So yeah, I'm going to say it's going to be a solid show, and that's what we should expect anyways. Because if you look at their momentum last year, TNA put on awesome pay-per-views.
All right, great. Lou, what do you think? You looking forward to this show?
Yeah, Garmin pretty much took everything that I was gonna say. They've since I would say as far back as maybe Slammiversary 2012, they've been putting on great shows month after month. So I mean, and from a wrestling perspective, I'm expecting a lot. So I guess we'll see how it goes.
All right, Rob, what about you?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is going to be a pretty good pay-per-view. I'd be a lot more excited for it if Jeff Hardy wasn't going to retain the damn belt, but, them's the breaks.
Man,
overall, I think it'll be pretty good.
You're like WWE fans with John Cena, I'm telling you. All right, for me, yeah, wrestling-wise, match-wise, this is going to be a phenomenal card. Storyline-wise, not so much. I'm looking forward mostly to the storylines coming out of Genesis than what's going in. If Morgan and Ryan get the belts, who's going to be the knockout number 1 contendership, and are they going to build that for 2.5 months all the way to lockdown for the belt? What's going to happen with Joseph Park's first real match? Sting's first match since his return. I mean, what's going to happen with Austin Aries and Bobby Roode? Storyline-wise, a lot of stuff is going to come out of this, so it makes sense for, they call it Genesis. But going into it, I mean, the build they had, you're thinking it's the Christmas season building up to this. It's not going to be all that great as far as the impacts leading up to it. But yeah, I'm definitely with you, Lou. I think this is going to be a phenomenal, as far as wrestling matches are concerned, this is going to be a phenomenal card. And they do have momentum. Yeah, Slammiversary, I'd say that's really when they really started doing the uptick. All right, so that is Genesis. It's going to be this Sunday at such and such a time. I think they start at 8. Because they don't really do a pre-show. Yes. All right, so make sure to check your local listings or head to the bar and watch it for free and eat some chicken wings. Lou, I want to thank you so much for coming on. If people wanted to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
All right, well, they can reach me on Twitter at LouTubeWins. And I actually have a YouTube channel where I review and preview wrestling programs via WWE or TNA. And I took about a year hiatus prior to WrestleMania was when I stopped, and I'm planning to start because I finally have my shit together. So you can find that's youtube.com/LuchoTalksLucha, LuchoTalksLucha.
Now, are you going to be talking exclusively, I mean, I'm assuming Lucha Libre Wrestling, are you going to be talking about Lucha Libre USA? Because if you are, I got the greatest guest host for you.
Let's not do that. I am planning on maybe covering some AAA every now and then, maybe CMLL if it's good. I haven't really watched the product in a couple months.
I'm just saying. I mean, just because when Lucha Libre USA was on, it's MTV, right? And
MTV 3.
Yeah, Joe was so excited that they were going to be doing that show. And he was so pissed when he finally saw it.
I didn't get past the first episode. Maybe.
Oh God! It was awesome. All right, Lou, thank you so much for being on, man. We got to get you on a Tuesday night. Oh, I'm sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say my pleasure and congratulations on the award. You guys kick ass.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Flexing, baby. Flexing. Yeah, I still cannot believe we won that. We'll have to get you on a Thursday night with the whole crew. It'll be awesome. That is the show. That's our TNA Genesis 2013 preview. Check out ftwpodcast.com for more information about us and how to get involved in the future. Our new and totally awesome site is up and running and has links to our iTunes page so you can rate us higher than any wrestling podcast can possibly be rated. Remember, 6 stars. We want 6-star ratings on iTunes. Let's break through that wall. Let's show Cupertino how it's done. There'll be other ways you can help us there too. All the links are right there and how to support us. And we appreciate any help that you can give us. Remember to join us again Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time at ftwlive.com. New t-shirts are going to be out next week, so make sure to keep an eye on Twitter, Facebook, and our Google Plus feeds. Look forward to seeing you next Tuesday, and it should be an awesome show on Sunday. We'll have plenty, especially with what happened on Impact, the 4 pay-per-views, and what happened on Genesis. I have no doubt we're going to have a ton of TNA stuff to talk about on Tuesday. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you, everyone.
Later.
Bye.